guys, what's going to you? Coming to you from Jacksonville, Florida. This is Paul Ravella with ProPhysique.com, and I wanted to discuss a little bit about gym wear and some of the things that I bring to the gym or that I put on when going to the gym. Was a time when I would go to the gym in a string tank top and a pair of baggy shorts or sweatpants and a pair of sneakers, not really giving much thought to the functionality of what I was wearing. But times have changed, and I like to go to the gym with a purpose, and with that purpose comes some items of clothing that, while they may seem random, at least on my days where I know I'm going to be doing some squatting, deadlifting, benching, I wear something that has a purpose to it. So I'm going to start from the ground up, and we'll just go through some items. The first thing would be a squat shoe. So the biggest difference between a general gym shoe and a squat shoe is that the weightlifting shoe has a purpose to it. So if you notice, the first thing that's the biggest difference is a completely flat sole. What this allows you to do is make complete contact with the surface. The next thing that I really like about these is you have a reinforcement around the toes. So when you're squatting and your feet start to slide in a general sneaker or tennis shoe, you don't get that in this shoe. You'll also notice there's a slight raised heel. So for those that have trouble hitting depth on a squat, this will actually allow the hips to descend a little bit deeper with a little less trouble. I don't necessarily need a raised heel to hit depth, but I do like this shoe in general. Ever since the first day I put it on, it just felt great. This is just a plain Adidas weightlifting shoe. I also have this shoe, which is a Rogue Do-Win, and you'll notice that it has a similar design. The sole isn't quite as flat, but it is very grippy, and it does have a raised heel. It's actually a little bit higher, which I like the little bit lower heel of the Adidas shoe. The one thing I disliked about this shoe was that it was awkward to wear anywhere in the gym other than in the squat rack. It's kind of clunky, it's very wide, the straps hang off the edges. The reason I like this shoe is because once you have it on, it almost resembles just a plain sneaker for the gym, and it's comfortable to walk around in. Doesn't feel clunky at all. Now for deadlifting and days when I'm doing upper body stuff, I'll just wear a plain Adidas sneaker. I do like a flat soled shoe for the gym ever since I made that transition. So it's mostly about what I'm going to do that day and what I'm going to wear. For socks, I like a sock that's designed to keep the sweat off your feet, a dry fit sock. I prefer the Nike dry fit socks. So I actually just purchased a large amount of those. I keep them in there, and when I know I'm going to be using my feet for the day, squatting, deadlifting, whatever, even benching, because you have to lock your feet into the floor on a proper bench technique. That's the sock that I prefer. So now moving up to the knees. So I purchased recently a new set of knee sleeves. I've had 2 pairs of knee sleeves prior to that. They ripped both times. They were the typical neoprene 7mm knee sleeve. I think just from wear and tear, from taking them on, putting them on, repeatedly, they actually, they begin to get some tears in them, and then through the stress of lifting. So I went ahead and made a purchase just the other day. I've seen a lot of people give great reviews, so I went ahead and purchased these SBD knee sleeves. I've used them once, and what I immediately noticed was not so much a difference in the rebound, but a difference in the way they fit. They're actually designed for a left knee and a right knee. It's actually labeled. And they come very tightly fitted to you. So you have to measure your knee before you purchase these. So I actually had to measure my knee and measure my calf, because if you have a large calf, that can inhibit the bottom of the sleeve. It's actually a tapered sleeve. So as you see, this is the bottom of the leg, the top of the leg. So if you are interested in purchasing that brand of knee sleeve, make sure you actually go ahead and take a measurement around your knee and your calf, because my calf measurement was larger than my knee, so I had to make sure that they were within a frame. Don't just purchase based on small, large, medium. Make sure you actually follow the measurement guide, because I got these based on my measurements, and they fit perfectly. Like it's difficult to get them on, but it's not super difficult to get them on. Like I bought a pair in the past that I couldn't even get over my calves, because instead of measuring, I just went ahead and purchased the typical extra large that I usually get. So from there, let's move up. So we've covered feet, socks, knees. The next thing I wear to the gym on a day where I'm doing lower body is I like to wear long tight underwear. I don't like to wear boxer briefs. I found that boxer briefs will dig into my leg. They get comfortable. I have to keep readjusting them while I'm lifting. So I made the switch to a new brand of typical type of lifting like this. So you see that they actually kind of snug the leg. There's no bunching anywhere inside. So I'm not actually thinking about my underwear while I'm lifting, and I don't get home and have teeth marks on my legs. So they're very comfortable. The shorts, you noticed, I like them to be a little bit looser so that when I do my deadlifts, they allow some sliding. I will sometimes wear shorter shorts if I feel like it's going to inhibit, but these Adidas shorts that I wear, I really like the way that they fit. I almost don't feel like I have shorts on. They're kind of very flowy. So the t-shirt that I'm wearing is by Outwork Apparel. It's kind of a thicker cotton. The reason I like that is because it grips the bar for the squats. It provides a little bit of a layer between the bar and my back. I've already got from squatting 4 days a week and 3 days a week in these programs, some calluses on my back where the bar sits. So what I like about this shirt is that it actually protects my back a little bit, and it grips the bar so I feel secure when I pull the bar down on it. I have some thinner cotton shirts that I like to wear on upper body days where I'm not so worried about it, but for a day where I know I'm going to be loading weight up on my back, and this is also nice on a bench. The gym that I go to, I don't use chalk, but I would typically put some chalk on my back when I lock in for the bench so that I don't slide. But this will actually help with that as well. The material doesn't slide too much, so it's great for that. It's a piece. The belt is another important piece of equipment. This is I have 2 belts. The first one I got was by Cardio. It was a 10 millimeter, and this one is also a 10 millimeter. This one was done by Bob's Belts. They actually custom embroidered a logo for me, as you can see. If you're interested in a custom embroidered logo, expect it to take a while. I think this one took about 10 weeks to get to me. Otherwise, you can just get a pre-made belt off the site and have it to you probably within a week. So if you're interested in a logo, make sure you research that, because it does take an extra time. I do like the double prongs. These double prongs don't allow the belt to move on your waist. I've tried on some that have a single prong, and I've noticed that the belt will actually teeter a little bit as you're lifting. They also have some that, for guys with issues in the front, you can get them tapered so that they come in a little bit. I have kind of a long waist, so I don't really need a tapering, but I've heard people complain that it'll bruise, the belt will actually bruise their ribs. The other type of belt that's real popular is the lever belt, and then also you'll notice this width right here, this is 10 millimeters. They also make them in 13 millimeters. Lane Norton lifts with a 13 millimeter belt, and I've put it on before, and it feels like the jaws of life are around me. It's a good feel, but I just don't feel like I'm pushing heavy enough weight right now to warrant it. Madeline's barking at me. Stop. Anyway, so I feel like I'm happy with this belt right now, and I don't need to progress. When to use the belt? I think the best time to use the belt is once you start getting into some heavier singles. I try to warm up without the belt so that I keep my technique throughout the lift. It forces me to focus on keeping my upper body tight, keeping the bar tight on my back. You don't want the belt to become a crutch. You want it to help increase your inter-abdominal pressure without it being a handicap crutch that you have to go to. So I would recommend lifting without one as much as possible, but don't let the belt be a limiting factor. If you need it for some heavy rep work, then fine. One other thing I started using for squat day that I used to only use for bench day was these. So you'll see these in my videos around my wrists while I'm squatting, and while I never used to do that, what I started to get was a little bit of tendonitis in my elbow, and I started asking around, and they mentioned that it was probably from the wrist flexion from the bar being on my back, because my shoulders, while they are pretty flexible, I have to put the bar pretty low, so it does force me into an awkward position. And what I noticed is as soon as I started putting the wraps on my wrist, the tendonitis was reduced greatly. I don't feel it at all anymore, except for when I'm lifting just slightly. I also use these, now when I'm squatting, I don't wrap it that tight. I don't lock it in like like it's supposed to be concrete. I allow some play in my wrist, but I think even just having the support there has helped the elbow. Now when I'm benching, I wrap them as tight as possible, and I put my wrist in a position like this, and I wrap it so that it's basically like concrete, so nothing's gonna move my wrist. So then on bench, all I'm focused on is the down and up. I'm not focused on the weight. Now, do I need these? No. But the amount of frequency that I do squatting and benching and deadlifting, I like to use supports like these because I feel like it allows me to stay injury free. Because if you start getting some tendonitis and you start getting some nagging issues in your elbows and your wrists and your knees, these are all things that are going to prevent you from training. So for me personally, I've invested in these because I feel they are supporting me and helping me, and I've been injury free for a while now in all those areas I mentioned. So I'm happy with it. Now, to compete raw, all the equipment I just showed you would be considered modern raw. You're allowed to use them at a meet. There's nothing single ply about them. So they do have, most of the organizations now have a raw, either Ironman or raw, like old school, where no belts, no wraps, no knee sleeves. But this is typically considered raw by modern standards. The last thing that I'll discuss, some wrist straps. Now, these are the typical wrist straps, right? These are the typical wraps that you just put on your hand. You wrap these around the bar. The weight of the bar holds the canvas in place, and the bar is secured. This allows me to deadlift double overhand. Because I don't have chalk, and the gym that I go to is not a powerlifting gym, so I don't really want to introduce chalk into that environment and possibly get, kicked out. So what I would recommend for wrist wraps would be, I would recommend Versa grips. Versa grips are the best. You get an easy grip. There's no wrapping. It's just a simple piece of rubber that's got a grip built into it. So when you grip the bar, you're just locked in. So Versa grips are the way to go for grips. These are my backups. I keep them just for such an occasion when I can't find my Versa grips, which is now. So I think that's it for gym equipment. The last thing would be music. So while I was moving in the last 6 months, I misplaced my Bose headphones, and I was forced to replace them, and I found out just how much they cost. But the special thing about these headphones, the way the earpiece works is it sits in your ear and pushes outward, so you don't feel the earpiece in your ear. The typical earbud that kind of rests in your ear, those tend to pop out. They create some friction in my ear and they bother me. So I've never really liked music in the gym until I found these. These are the Bose SIE 2i. I don't know what they're called. They're just Bose, but they work awesome. They fit awesome in your ear. They're super comfortable. I don't even notice they're in. They don't bother me in any way, shape, or form. I will be sure to take better care of these because now I realize how much they cost. The first pair were a gift from my sister. And while I love them, I was not aware of their cost until I went to replace them. So these I will be taking care of. So that's pretty much it as far as equipment goes. I'm about to go into the gym right now. I've had a taper this week, so I will be testing my 1-rep maxes. So hopefully I get some good video of some 1-rep maxes today. And if you guys have any other questions or comments about equipment or stuff to use in the gym, or you'd like me to discuss anything, thoughts, anything, reviews on anything, I'm always open to it. So appreciate you guys watching, and hope you enjoy these lifts. Thanks, bye. Hey guys, so after 6 weeks of working with Ben Esgro on my DUP for squat, bench, and deadlift, this was a taper week, and this is my first attempt. Now my max when I started at the beginning was 345, and I tested that max. And so this is my opening squat attempt, as if it was a powerlifting meet, and this is 340. So, I did some good warm-ups. I was really focused on this day. I felt really good. I did some hip mobility work, and you see 340 there. To me, it actually felt like there was nothing on my back. It felt like a warm-up. So I was pretty excited just knowing that much. So here we go with 355, which was my second scheduled attempt. Now, again, Ben programmed these first 2 lifts for me. So when I come in with my second attempt here, same thing, just trying to get focused, get a good lift, get a good lock on the bar on my back, hips tight, hips loose, glutes tight, hips back, butt down, squat, 355, right through, no issues. So now I was to pick my next attempt.
I haven't had a lot of weight on my back in a while, so I just went ahead and was real conservative and said, you know what, I'm just going to go up 10 pounds, just go to 365. Now mind you, 6 weeks ago my max was 345. So this would be for me an accomplishment regardless. So you'll see something in this lift that, let me see in a second, I get set up. Everything's good. Knees out. Now watch, I went a little too low. My knees kind of moved forward there, and I got in a little bit of trouble, but I still had no problem with the weight. So what that told me was I had definitely had more in the tank, especially considering. Now I usually wouldn't get a 4th attempt at a powerlifting meet, but this isn't a powerlifting meet, so I just wanted to see where I was at. So I figured I'd throw 375 on the bar with 365 feeling that good. This time I was able to stay a little bit tighter, get my knees out, hit the proper depth without going too far down and forcing my form to be compromised. And there you see 375 come up. You know, it's definitely slow, but it built my confidence. So this is 385 pounds. This is my all-time gym PR, the most I've ever lifted in a gym before. I did get 400 once in a meet, but this was my most I'd ever done leading up to that meet. So I just wanted to see how it would feel. I wasn't expecting to do this on this day. I was just kind of going by feel. See, I get in the hole deep, squat, push through, lock it. That got me pretty damn excited. I only filmed one of my bench attempts. The first bench was 340, second was 360, and this was what I was feeling I could do. Pause, 380 pounds. As you can see, the speed was questionably, I'm glad I didn't go 385 because I may have missed it, so I was real happy with that. My first deadlift attempt, 430 pounds. May have done a few too many squats because my deadlift was struggling. Even when I warmed up, I felt a little tight. This was my second attempt at 460 pounds, which normally would be no problem for me. But as you can see here, didn't want to come up. I was fried that day. I said, screw it, I'm not going to force it. So I'm happy after 6 weeks I've added 40 pounds to my squat, which was my weakest lift. Obviously my deadlift needs to come back around, but overall this is very good. So thanks.